What's going on, everybody? You're tuned back into Redline Legendz podcast. I'm your host, Law. I thank you guys for tuning in once again, kicking it with me. So today, it's just gonna be me. I hope that's not a problem, but kick it with me for a minute. And I was scrolling through Facebook. You know how if you're on Facebook and you have the Facebook memories that come up, and you can see what you were doing 1 year ago, 2 years ago, sometimes even 10 years ago. And I actually came across one that was about, it was years back. And it was when I just first bought my first bike, and I just thought I was the man, you know? And so I was looking at the picture and I was like, wow, I've come a long way, man. It was a silver 2008 Yamaha R6 that I first got. And the thought came to me, it was like, man, if I knew then what I know now, how differently I would have approached, just different things. So it made me think of this topic: 10 things to know before becoming a biker, or even before joining a motorcycle club. Really, this is just some of the tips I would have given myself had I known me back in the day with what I know now, if that makes any sense. We'll just start it off, man. Number 10, first off, know your history. Know where this motorcycle, where this bike culture, know where it started. Do your research. And just look up and see where this all came from. You could trace it back to even times with the AMA. I know a lot of people reference the 1947, the Hollister riots out in California, where the AMA termed the difference between the 99% of bikers are law-abiding citizens and they have jobs, and there's just the 1%. Learn all of that, and I'll definitely provide a link in the description so you can look it up and just do your own research. But not only knowing exactly where this culture came from, but also when you do, let's say if you do find a club that you're interested in, do your homework. Know what makes them tick to the best of your ability, because you're not going to know off top. You may never really get to know the internal parts. That's not for you to know, but at least learn the history or the information that is available before you make a decision. Never just make a decision because your friend is about to join something or you think it looks cool. Actually know what you're getting into and understand what they stand for. You know what I'm saying? Moving on to number 9. Don't fall for the hype or get caught up in the attention. I know when I first bought my motorcycle and I learned how to ride, it can go to your head when you get all that speed, and especially if somebody likes to race and thinks they're just skilled at racing and moving fast and changing directions, it can go to your head. You've got to be careful. You've got to be able to understand that you've got to respect this machine. And a lot of times you'll feel the urge to go fast, and you've got to take your time. Don't rush it. Don't rush it at all. Don't get caught up in the hype, especially for the people that, let's say if you're taking a step further, you just got your bike and now you're talking about you want to join a club. That's a whole different can of worms. And what I mean is, when I first got onto the set, or I first joined an organization, you get a lot of attention. You get attention from females. You get attention from people trying to figure out who you are. And if you're not careful, you'll fall for it. And you actually think, oh yeah, I'm the man. No, you're not. You're not the man. you're just new. You're just fresh meat. So don't fall for the hype. Number 8, and this one's very important. Respect and learn from the ones that have come before you. Understand that there's bikers and there's people that ride that have been doing this years before you bought your bike, buddy. And you can learn from them, and they're willing to teach you. They're willing to show you the ropes. I was lucky enough to have some people that actually came through and took me in and had me riding around, and they showed me the do's and don'ts. And they actually could ride really good. So I got the I guess the lucky hand, if you will. They showed me the ropes. So even when when you join and if you thinking about joining the club, understand that there's old heads. There are people that can teach you the history, like we talked about on number 10. They can teach you the history, and they'll appreciate being able to give you that knowledge because they want to give you that knowledge. A lot of times you get the young guys that come in, they really don't want to hear it. They think they know everything, and they're falling for the hype, and they're falling for the different attention that they're getting from the females, and they think it's them, not understanding they're just the new face. So respect the ones, always respect the ones. When you go into an event, speak to everybody. You know, you're not better than anybody. Speak to everybody. And you know, if it's an older gentleman, you know, you shake their hand or whatever. And sometimes you have to pay attention. Sometimes they may not speak to you because they don't know who you are. You're a new face. Let's see, what's number 7. Before things to know, when you become a biker, you gotta keep your bike in tip-top shape. We're talking about you gotta keep your bike maintained. We're talking you gotta make sure your tires are good, because you travel a lot. You go from state to state. You gotta keep your bike in shape. Oil changed, air filter cleaned, your headlights are working, your taillights are working. All these things make the difference between life and death. So it may, and don't try to cut corners. Don't try to cut corners with trying to maintain, trying to keep your bike up. You know, trying to buy, I want to buy a cheaper tire because, you know, it saves money. I get it. But if you're serious about this, you got to understand that your life is on the line. So you want to get the best that you possibly can. So moving forward, the best that you possibly can. Number 6, doing this bike stuff, it costs money. It costs a lot of money. So if you're just in it just to ride every now and then, okay, do that. But don't say, hey, I want to join a club, and then you realize, hey, it costs money. Because, for instance, I'll travel from, like, let's say this year already, I already know I'm planning on running to Detroit. I already know I'm running to Atlanta this weekend. Places like Louisville, Cincinnati, Montgomery. Hopefully we can pull this run off to California. So it's gonna cost money if you're serious about it. That's only if you're serious about it. So you gotta be able to understand and know this isn't just, it's not no lightweight. It's not no light work. It costs money. So because it costs money, number 5, you have to plan ahead. You plan ahead. When you have trips coming up, understand that you can't call out of work. You can't call out of work because you've got trips set aside and think places that you have to go, to where you're gonna have to go ahead and think ahead and say, all right, let me just suck this up and do what I need to do. That way, when these dates and things come up, I'm ready to go. You gotta plan ahead, even with, and we could reference Doc episode. Look at that, I got all these episodes now. I think it's episode, what is it, 1? I bet you it's episode 3. Yeah, it's episode 3, I think. Advice with the Doc. He was talking about he gets a calendar for all those who are married or in relationships. Get a calendar out. That way you still have, you manage your time wisely with your significant other, and That way you're on the same page, because you have to make sure home is straight first before you get out on these trips. So you definitely have to plan ahead. And number 4, be a true brother. If you're interested in becoming or joining an organization, be a true brother. And even if you're not interested in joining an organization, then the biker community, they look out for each other. If you see somebody on the side of the road that's on a motorcycle, you stop. You make sure they're okay. And you have to understand the different signals, and we'll get into that as well, the different signals that you can tell if a biker's in distress, where they place their helmet, if the helmet is behind the bike, or if it's on the bike, you can tell if they're in distress or if they're okay, or they're just doing whatever they may be doing. Be a true brother. And then if you get into an organization, understand that it's not just you. It's not just you by yourself. You're not just that one person. There's no I in team. That you're with a group, and that you all should move as a unit, and that you should all have each other's best interest at heart. So be a brother. You know, sometimes you may have to, they say iron sharpens iron. And that means you want everybody in your organization to be the best that they possibly can be. You know, no man left behind. Where I may be weak in, somebody else may be strong in. So let's come together and try to strengthen where I'm weak at and strengthen where this person may be weak at. So that's what it means to be a true brother, and to be loyal to them. Not to let people come in between or distract from whatever the goal you may have. Like a club may have a goal, or may have a something set to where they want to reach, and not letting, and you stay devoted to that, and you stay on track with it, not getting sidetracked, or not letting anything come in between you. So definitely be a brother. Number 3, ride your ride. I got a good story for this. Now, riding your ride means when you first get your bike and you first become a biker, it means you've got a learning curve you got to get over. I suggest you first take the class to get your motorcycle license. And then once you start getting out here and you start riding with people, you'll learn that people have different riding styles. Some ride responsibly, some people don't ride too responsible. So you have to ride your own ride. And once you can tell how some people are riding, you can make the decision, hey, I'm gonna keep riding with this person, or I'm just gonna kind of fall back, let them do their thing, and I'm just gonna get to wherever we're going safely, you know? Don't ever feel pressured, or don't let anyone pressure you into riding past your level, and you'll know. And maybe you won't. I'm trying to think, because there was a time where I struggle with that too, you know, being pushed, and I paid for it. I went down, I totaled out a bike, trying to keep up with somebody that was way beyond my comfort level. And so you pay the price. It costs money, like I said, and that's an expensive lesson to learn. So one thing I pass on to you is take your time. Trust me, if you take your time and you get home tonight, you got tomorrow to practice again. But if you're trying to do everything and trying to keep up with this person that's been riding for years and years and years, and you've only been riding for a couple months, it's not smart. And if they are experienced and they know how this goes, they actually should be looking out for you. So ride your own ride. Then let's say you do want to get into a motorcycle club. Number 2, check your feelings at the door. And what that means is you've got to understand this thing it's bigger than yourself. It's bigger than your personal feelings. Whatever the goal is, or whatever direction that the club may be going in, or that organization may be going into, you may not always agree with. But if that's the majority, or that's what the leader has put in place, then that's what you go with. That's what you go with. And you can try and you might want to address it off to the side, or in the proper format, or in the proper manner. But you cannot get upset, or you can't try to make a scene, or you can't try to do divisive type things, because it's not about you. You got to check your feelings at the door. And I've seen time and time again where people get caught up into that stuff. They get caught up into their feelings, and they lose sight of what they initially said they were going to do in the very beginning. They forget, yeah, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, that, and the third. They forget because they're stuck on themselves. And I tell a lot of people, and I post a lot, and I say the root of somebody's frustration or one's frustration, 9 times out of 10, it's something from within. I'll let that sink in. You might have to just think about it. 9 times out of 10, somebody's frustrations or problems that they convey or make it seem like it's somebody else's fault, I guarantee you the root of it is coming from something that's going on within. So, check your feelings at the door. Number 1, always be yourself. When you're out riding, don't try to be Valentino Rossi, because you're not. Don't, just be you. If the group is going too fast, say, hey, you're going too fast. They might tease you. They shouldn't tease you, because this is, like I said, this is life or doesn't matter, but some may tease you, just being honest. Just be honest. Just be you. Hey, you're going too fast, yo. Just let me know where y'all going. I'll catch you. I'll see y'all when I get there. Or, and some may slow down and stay with you. And that's just for just riding. Now, if once you're in an organization, be yourself. Don't try to pretend to be a tough guy. Don't try to pretend and be something that you're not, because eventually you get figured out, and it never works. You'll find yourself frustrated and disappointed. So, number 1, always be you, because you bring something to the table too. All right. So that's the first thing of 10 things I wish I told my older self. 10 things to know before becoming a biker, or even thinking about joining the club. Hope y'all enjoy Redline Legendz podcast. Peace. Also, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.